Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the closing bell here at MarketStream.live. My name is Joseph Cusick with the Cusick Group. Securities offered by MoneyBlock. Let's wrap up the action today. Well, it was muted on the security side, but we did get some movement in the commodity space as well as in the fixed income space. You know, when we take a look at everything today that went on, you basically are seeing that market participants right now are taking a wait-and-see attitude with all of the new Trump administration initiatives, maybe not coming to fruition as quickly as they wanted or anticipated. Just looking at the markets on the close today, you have the Dow Jones actually finishing up today 34 points at 20,810. So it's still an impressive move in the Dow Jones to hold positive ground. You have the NASDAQ also up 112, basically retraced most of what it lost yesterday at 53.32.37. But here's where you got the weakness. The Russell 2000 did finish today under 1,400 at 1394.62, down $1.18. That's notable because if small caps aren't leading, or at least if they continue to lag, that's going to put any type of upside promise in question. Taking a look at the S&Ps, you see that they finished down the day 485 at 2357.97. You did have volatility come off though today. Volatility was down 2 cents at 11.72, and you also have TLT, the bonds. The bonds actually rallied today, and that's a story that I want to watch because there are quite a few bond shorts that were coming in basically banking on both interest rate hikes, inflation, and the agenda of the president being pushed a lot quicker than what we're seeing, as well as tax reform. Up 40 cents on the TLT. The commodities with gas, UGA, nat gas, UNG, and oil all moving to the upside. As a matter of fact, I want to take a look at that move in the bonds. We're going to take a look at just use the charts as a visual. I'm going to take a look, first of all, at the 10-year. Finish the day, and actually I'm going to increase the font here just a little bit so that you can see this a little bit better. Okay. So you can see here right now that the 10-year rallied. In the last three sessions, basically, it has pulled off of its lows that we saw earlier last week, about midweek, sliced through the 50-day moving average. That was something that caught my attention only because then I could really see that there might be some intermediate or midterm type of bearishness that could be coming in on the 10-year. Well, that didn't hold. The next day we had a day that sliced through not only the 50-day but the 20-day moving average. It consolidated for 2 days and then popped again today. And it looks like if we start getting into this 125.16 level on the 10-year bond, as far as price is concerned, you're going to see those yields drop. You could see these shorts that we're basically getting in here. And this is this sweet spot. This area right here, folks, is the area of when the election occurred. And the precipitous drop that we saw on the 10-year, you have a bunch of shorts right here in this level, right, that could start to get nervous, especially if we're not going to see, first of all, the rate hike increases as quickly as possible, if we're not going to see the tax reform or the other pro-business, pro-deregulation type of initiatives being pushed. Also, be aware of the fact that we're starting to hear more comments about border taxes. So in other words, we're going to start to see how the trade policies are starting to pan out, and that could offer some volatility in the equity markets, which then could offer some volatility and some potential upside in the bond markets. Also taking a look not only at the 10-year, let's take a look at the 30-year. That's the ZB contract. So if you type in ZB, and if you're not familiar with the futures, just type in ZB. This will give you the 30-year. This is the T-bond. We'll look at the March contract, and you're seeing similar action. A consolidation for most of this year and the end of last year after a precipitous drop after the election. And you see that it held its 50-day moving average on the long bond a lot better than it did the 10. It challenged and then boom, popped up. We're trading at 151.31. This is an area where you could see some shorts come under pressure. You're seeing these shorts right here coming under pressure. Let's see if weaker hands start to bid up this market and shorts start to cover. One last market that I do want to take a look at is the crude markets. I want to see the crude markets because the crude markets usually have a little bit of a forecast built into it and gives us an idea of what's going on in the equity markets. And you're seeing it here. The equity markets have been grinding to the upside, but they still have stayed very bullish. In this case, you're seeing that the crude markets have been in a range basically between 52 and 55. That's represented right here for most of this year and the end of last year. We saw a challenge of the 50 and 20-day moving average, and the short-term bulls in crude are in control. So are the intermediate-term bulls. The 50-day and the 20-day haven't pierced, but we need to see that 20-day really turn up. So the short-term bullishness needs to really turn up if you're going to start to believe that 55 is going to have a chance of getting pierced and start to look for new highs somewhere in that $56, $57 range where you'll see resistance come into play again. So we'll watch that very closely, because if we get a bid in crude, that means that they're looking at some positive not only forecasts in the crude markets, but also from an economic perspective. In other words, an anticipation of higher demand. And we saw that in the API report earlier, where we had draws in both crude oil as well as gasoline stockpiles here in the United States. All right, folks, that's it for the closing bell. A lot of action today. Seems like there is, quite a few people that are taking a step back, reassessing. And check out the latest videos. Talked about some earnings announcements. As a matter of fact, actually, I did promise everybody from the Tech Talk that we did earlier this afternoon. Let's just basically go over some of the earnings results that we saw, and maybe not. Sorry about that. But we did take a look at one that would be notable. Let's see, is JWN. Nope, that's, I want a stock. Let's take a look at Nordstrom's, only because I want to take a look and see what they're doing after hours. Their earnings exceeded expectations. But you see that the stock right now, I don't see the after hours quote. I'll have to bring that up. I apologize. I lost my feed right now. So I'll have to take a look at that. But let's take a look and see if we can't get Nordstrom's up here real quick. Nope. Looks like I have been logged out. So we'll take a look at that, but you could clearly see that stocks are on the move. Check out Tech Talk. You'll see where we had all of the earnings names that were notable today. We talked about estimated moves. We took a look at the charts. Let's see if the market action is starting to line up. Looked like they were all in the red before earnings. Let's see if Nordstrom's might have gotten a little bit pop on that earnings announcement. So we'll take a look at that. All right, folks, have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow morning when we look at all the overnight action from Asia at 8:30 Eastern Time here at MarketStream.live. Have a great evening.